Yo, 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 we're here again with another episode of the Goodman Factory. You're here with your host today, Manny, and I'm here with my boy Mike. We got on the camera doing his thing. Yeah, I see you. Today we're going to have a chat about fatherhood, what it means to us, what our experiences as fathers, some of the struggles that we've had with it, and maybe some of the things that we're looking forward to in the future. So let's get started. So Mike, I think because you're the more experienced father in the room, do you want to just give us a bit of
an insight
into fatherhood? Maybe even just go back to the beginning. So maybe, how old you were, some of the difficulties there, and then we can kind of go into it from there.
Okay, calm. So I've been a father for 6+ years now. I've enjoyed every second of it. Obviously, there's hard times as well, of course, but that comes with the territory, I would say. But I was 23, going 24 that year that my son was born. I think it was a perfect age to have him. It's easy to say that now,
yeah.
Obviously, but because I was in my mid-20s and I felt like I was young and I was ready. And we had a conversation before we had our son as well. As in, if this happens, like, what do you think? And we had that conversation and we're like, yeah, like, it's calm. Because you're young and in love. So, yeah. But I would say when I had him, I was at a low point in my life. And knowing that he was going to be born gave me almost like a new sense of direction. Gave me that fire in my belly. Gave me like that energy that I needed, that boost. And yeah, it's just, everyone always complains about when you have a newborn, you don't sleep. I used to wake up early because I was working in Screwfix at the time.
Okay.
So we had to be up at like 4:30 because I had to open the store at like 5 and start serving customers at 5:30. Mad time. So I used to have to wake him up. So I used to have to wake him up.
Wait. You used to open up the shop at 4:30?
No, 5:30.
5:30?
Yeah. So it was crazy them times, boy. Because we were bringing in deliveries about, when was we bringing in deliveries? Maybe, 5 o'clock, 5:15, maybe 5:30. It was, yeah. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. That's how bad it was. But so I used to have to wake up, and then sometimes I'll check on him or I feed him about maybe, let's say 4:45 maybe. And literally there was times where I didn't go work. Let's say it was my week off, and he used to sleep. He used to sleep like 8-9 hours, but we had to, obviously you're meant to wake up the child apparently every 4 hours to feed them, especially when they're newborn. And he was an angel, absolute angel as a kid. Like I would do it again twice with twins.
Really?
Literally, he was that good. And now that he's older, now that he's 6, the guy doesn't really sleep.
Oh,
imagine
really?
he'll wake up at 6 o'clock, daddy, can I go downstairs? I'll be like, why are you up at 6 on a weekend?
Sense the reverse, basically.
Literally. So I always tell parents, it's meant to get easier. Mine has been so easy, it's just gradually got harder. But most of the time he does sleep 8 hours at least. But I think the hard things are, let's say, there's like, you have to discipline the child, of course, but you have to do it in such a way where they understand what they've done wrong. So, for example, you have to, you tell them off straight away, for example. You let him have a timeout, and then you call him over. So I didn't even know this technique. This is his mum. She was the one that says, so she told him off, go and sit on a naughty step. He'll come back now and she'll be like, do you know what you done wrong? And he's thinking, he's racking his brains, he doesn't know. But then she would ask him, and he'll be like, okay, I think it's because I've done this, this, and this. And if he doesn't know, his mum will say, it's because you've done this. And he'll be like, and should you be doing that? No, blah, blah.
That's very important, man.
Literally.
Very, very important.
So he knows.
So I'm going to assume you come from a Nigerian background.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that that's something that you experienced yourself as a child?
Oh, no.
And do you think it made a difference to maybe how your childhood was, or maybe your perception of maybe parenting or discipline in general?
I think in terms of culture, maybe, I say because I'm Nigerian and I had a very disciplined mum, obviously because dad wasn't there. Mum had to be mum and dad, and at times overly aggressive, but understandably in a sense because you're raising 2 boys. I would say I took some parts of the discipline and some parts of our culture and almost like blended it and mixed it with what I feel is, let's say British culture and also common sense. Like you just take a bit of everything that you think is decent and you put it together and kind of like meshed it together. So there's times where you want to be angry, but me just being overly angry with him, he wouldn't understand because he's not a man. So I have to tell him off in such a way that it stops me from getting really annoyed with him too much. Obviously, everyone can be annoyed.
Yeah.
But it stops me from getting too annoyed at him, one. But then also knowing his mistakes so he doesn't do it again. And then I'm not always going to be there to tell him, oh, don't do that, Rom. Like, make sure you behave yourself kind of thing. But it definitely, boy, I used to get beat for being good.
What? How does that make sense?
That's what it felt like. There's times where I wasn't even that bad, or I'll take my brother's beats. That I've never understood.
But your mum knew that you didn't do something.
Yeah, and then if I say, "Oh, why are you hitting me for?" She'll be like, "Are you talking to me?" And then slap, and then I'll be like, and then literally my brother's just done something mad, and she'll say, "Well, you should be disciplining him." But if I discipline him, you can't beat me anyway. So I never won.
So you were the eldest brother.
Yeah, it's only me and my younger brother. We had 2 cousins, of course. We have 2 cousins as well, 2 girls. But yeah, it was hilarious. Like when I had obviously an adult conversation a few years ago now with my mum. One, she denies everything. She never raised her finger.
That's normal. They never remember.
That's the thing. That's the thing. But yeah, there's that. And then there's also just, well, you should have just let me know. You know, Mum, why are you soft now?
Yeah.
No, you come with the same roadman energy.
The vim.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that I definitely feel like it's made me the parent I am today, because obviously not everything that you experience is always good, and not everything that how do I explain it? There's some things about the way I got disciplined that I would never do to my child, for example. But it definitely made me know right from wrong, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then also being raised in the UK, there's certain things that you think, okay, if I do it that way with a bit of Nigerian in there, it would not make you the perfect parent, because you're never going to be the perfect parent, but it would definitely help him understand more. I thought the way I discipline now would definitely help my son understand his mistakes and not make that again. And even maybe try to improve, in fact. I know he's only 6.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're very smart. Don't underestimate kids at all.
Yeah.
Very, very smart.
No, I don't. So it's funny, actually. It's good listening to you, because you're not only the more experienced person, but I think you've also got a boy.
Yeah, oh gosh.
Quick question, by the way. Did you always want a boy, or?
I always wanted a boy. So that story is hilarious, actually, because I used to work in a plus size ladies store, Evans. Don't ask me why and how. That was my first job.
That's a podcast for another day still.
100%. And it was my first job. And then my manager, the assistant manager at the time, was having a grandson, and she was going through names. And then I was half listening. It's almost like everything's grey kind of thing. And then I heard the name Rome, yeah? And everything went colourful. That's the only way to describe it. And then I was like, the name's all right. Because I didn't want my manager to use the name. She was like, it's a nice name, but I don't know if Robert Roman. That's better. Yeah, you use that one. Then she was looking at me like, what's this guy talking about? Then obviously when she was looking, I remember writing that name Rome in my my iPhone. So by this time I was like, 18 maybe. And didn't even know his mum until years later. And then coincidentally, his mum's half Italian.
Okay.
As well. So I remember when we knew that she was pregnant, years later, of course, when we met, and then obviously having a child, she was like, yes, if it's a boy, it's me, I want it to be a boy. Just I want a boy as well. What should we call him? I said Rome. She said, what? That is a name. Are you saying it because I'm half Italian? This means, don't get excited.
Yeah.
But it was almost like by fate. It was almost like coincidence. So I was proper excited, man. And I had to have a boy. We wanted a boy so badly that it wouldn't have been a disappointment, because it's still a blessing having a boy or a girl. But we wanted a boy so bad that God wasn't going to say, you know what, I'll just give you a girl this time and you have a boy next time.
Yeah.
Nah.
The energy was all for the boy.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know the maddest thing about it, yeah? No exaggeration. Guess what name I'm going to name my boy if I have a boy? Roman. Roman. You know what? Because if my wife watches this episode, there's no way she's gonna name it. She's like that. If someone else has taken the name, she's like, okay, cool, we got to pick something different. But for the last 3 to 5 years, the name that stuck out to me the most for a boy, Roman.
I've only heard it once.
Really?
Yeah.
Funny enough, my one of my best friends, my daughter's godfather, actually, his nephew is called Roman.
That's a proper name.
Yeah,
man.
and he's the only person I think I know personally with that name still. I think it's a beautiful name. Yeah. Love it. Strong.
Yeah. 100%.
Strong with history as well.
Boy.
But yeah, so I was saying, so with me, it's a bit different, I think, because I'm a fresh daddy. So my daughter was born on the 6th of July, 3 days after my 30th birthday. So even though we was in the middle of a pandemic, this year has been quite a blessing for 2 reasons. Reached 30, but also had my baby daughter born as well. And I'll be honest with you, I always wanted a boy.
Is it?
Always wanted a boy. Always. And similar to you, when I was around the age of like 22, 23, I thought I was ready to have a child. I don't know what it was, you know. I was probably fresh out of uni at that point as well, actually. And I always just had it in my head that, you know, if I had to have a child now, or if, you know, I had a child, because at this point, me and my wife weren't married. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend. So I was just thought to myself, listen, if we have a child now, I'm ready. In hindsight, I look back and I think to myself, I'm glad I had my child in the latter part of my 20s, just because I feel like for me now, I feel like I'm more, I think there's the whole financial security part of things. But again, you hear it quite often, you know, like when you have your child, you deal with it. You find a way to basically make it work.
It's that instinct.
Yeah, you've got no choice. But I definitely think, looking back, I think I'm in a season now where I'm prepared to have a child. And I think what's important is that both me and my partner were ready at this point to have a child as well. And that was quite key. She's 28, she's going to be 29 next month, and I'm 30. So I think for both of us, we felt like, okay, this is the right time. So with me, I had a daughter, little girl.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I've got to say, it's not been easy, man. I can't come onto this podcast and lie to people today and say that it's easy. It hasn't been easy. You know what? She's a blessing. So her name's Irie. So in every sense of the word, she literally is a blessing. Everything's cool with her. Yeah, but the sleep, oh my gosh.
How are you coping?
I'm not coping, bro.
At all.
I'm not coping. I think I've had more coffee in the last 2-3 months than I've had like in my whole life still. And that's not even me having it like on a ridiculous basis. That's just like once a day, but that's way more than I would normally have it. The sleep for me is the difficult part. I'll tell you why, because so a number of years ago, I suffered from chronic insomnia. So I never used to actually sleep. And that's something you had as well. So that's something that I've like had to go through and kind of come out from. So on average, I might sleep anywhere between 4 to 6 hours of sleep. Get 4 to 6 hours of sleep anyway, which isn't great. But for me, from where I came from, that's quite a big deal. Yeah. And so sometimes I think to myself, like, the reason why I'm able to kind of manage throughout the middle of the night with my daughter is because I've been through the experience of not having great sleep anyway. But I think what it's affecting at the moment more than anything is my productivity. I think going into work and just being exhausted or tired, like operating off of 3-4 hours sleep. And I think what it's done is it's made me realize that, like a lot of people are coming into work, especially women, because I work in education. So women in the education sector, they get a certain amount of months off. But I know women that have come back to work after 3 or 4 months. So that whole time they're doing that means they're coming into work with their child possibly not sleeping through the night or not sleeping well at all. And I've struggled. And I've had nights where I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to take the coward route and say to the wife, I need to sleep on the couch today or sleep in the spare room, you know. But I've heard different things, you know. I've heard some people say you need to do that. I've heard that from women as well. They're saying, you know, if you're going into work and you're the breadwinner, you need to kind of make sure that you're in the right place for you to be able to work. You need to get the sleep if that's the case. But then on most nights, I just feel to myself, like, I can't leave my wife and my daughter there just because whatever she's going through, we got to go through it together. She's going to be tired. I think the only thing is that I think to myself, you know what, she gets to sleep in a bit longer. If I'm up at 6:30, by the time I leave, they're still sleeping. And obviously they get the option to have naps during the day and stuff. Yeah. I don't have that option. For me, it's like on rotation. Yeah. I come back home from work. It's kind of like, hey, here's your baby.
Yeah.
More than happy to take her. But in my head, I'm just like, yo, I just need an hour to
Literally.
myself. Can I nap maybe here? But it's like 6, 7 already. It gets to 9, 10. We're getting her ready for sleep. And then it's the same again.
Yeah.
Another night of interrupted sleep. Some nights are better than others.
Yeah.
And then it's the same again up until Friday. And then Saturday comes, you get to sleep in for an hour or two, and then you do the same all over again on a Monday. And so like you said, a lot of people have said, you know what, it gets better. And then I get people that come up to me at work and say, oh, my child's 2. And they're still not sleeping very great. And I'm like, okay.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah, I don't need to hear that still. So I think that's been the biggest struggle, I think, the lack of sleep. Other than that, yeah, little one's been a blessing. I think no one can really prepare you for that.
At all.
Yeah, no one can really prepare you for that. And I think the other thing that I've really had to kind of like prepare myself for is, so like I'm not like always on time, but I try and make the effort to be on time, you know. My wife isn't so great at that. And since having our daughter, I've realised like it takes a lot of time, like even to just leave the house. Like if we've got to be somewhere for 12, we've given ourselves 2 hours to get ready. We're getting to the place at like 2:33. And genuinely, not because, you know, we're slacking or because we didn't wake up in time. In the process of getting ready, the baby could throw up on herself. She could do an explosive poo. She could throw up on you. The poo could go on your hand or go on your shirt. Then you got to wash it. Then you got to change again. So like literally these days, it takes us like 4 hours to get out of the house just to get ready. She's got to be fed. If she's fed, we've got to make sure that she's got this. If she hasn't got that, we've got to make sure we've packed this. And so like the whole day can go with us just getting ready to go Westfield, and it's been like 4 or 5 hours. I swear to you, not even anywhere like
Westfield.
Yeah, just somewhere like Westfield, it would just take like 3-4 hours, and I think that's something I've had to get used to. Not really a massive problem. I think it's affecting my wife more than me. I've settled with that idea, but
you know, I was gonna say it does get easier, as in the time gets shorter when you're about to leave the house.
I hope so.
But when you have a 6-year-old that does adult poos on the way out of the house, so you have to now wait. And then, like, are you finished now? He says he's finished. You're about to wipe. And I go, oh, wait, Daddy, wait, hold on. Then he starts doing the tense thing. I'm like, bro, like, I was meant to be there an hour ago. What are you doing? And then I'm hungry. Oh, I need to go to the toilet. I need to go wee. Or you're on a motorway. You're on a motorway, and I told you to wee. I told you before we leave the house, please use the toilet. Daddy, I don't need to wee. He's playing his iPad and his DS at the same time.
And then you're on the motorway.
On the middle of the motorway, bro. The guy is now panicking, jumping up and
12
down.
miles to go.
Yeah,
till service.
Jumping up and down, and I'm like, come on. Like we do the It wasn't that hard in terms of getting him ready. It was long. I have to be honest with you. I can definitely agree with you there when he was young, because you have to pack everything. You have to make sure the explosive poo, and everything else. And he knows when you take off the nappy, kids know. Yeah. So they try to wee in your eye all the time.
Yep. Or put their foot in it.
Literally, or hand, and then start
rolling in it.
Mate, it's crazy. Yeah. But I can honestly say it does get easier. They become more independent, way more independent. And like almost to the point where you feel like, what's my role here?
Yeah, I'm not needed.
Because he's even telling me, nah, Dad, I could do it myself. I'm like, hold on. What happened? Because I was literally holding you, and I was cooking at the same time while I'm doing work. And now you're telling me, nah, Dad, it's fine. I'll just do it myself. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it does get easier. It gets faster.
I hope
you enjoy it. You enjoy it.
I hope so. I don't think that's been one of the more difficult things. I think that's just been one of the more like eye-opening things. Like, oh wait, this little one actually takes all of my time. And since she's been born, you know, I haven't been able to go back to the gym. Doesn't mean I've stopped working out, but I've had to kind of just really like realign my priorities and just have a look at, you know, what's necessary. Yeah. Even my timetable, you know, like the last 2 months I spent longer at work than I'd like to, but I've done that knowing that actually if I'm staying till 6, let's say, when I go home, I'm not opening that laptop to do any work, because I know what's going to happen when I get in anyway. My wife's been at home all day with the baby. She's going to say, listen, I need to get ready. I need to have a shower. I need to, you know, do whatever. She's been a bit of a nightmare today. Can you take her? Yeah, I haven't got time to be then looking at my emails and then, you know, checking out stuff that people have sent from the morning it doesn't become a priority. So I think I've had to really like kind of prioritize like my time.
Yeah.
And that's been a eye opener, but it hasn't been a struggle. I think definitely the biggest struggle for me has been the lack of sleep more than anything else.
Yeah, no. You become I was gonna say your time management skills, even if you're not good at it, all of a sudden become a time management master because you now know, okay, if this is not going to be really quick now to get him ready or to do certain things and do stuff for myself, some to keep me sane and some to obviously I don't know, help me with my self-development or even help my son, then basically what am I doing? But I would say I've become really, well, some people argue, if they listen to this, they'll be like, no, Michael's time management is kind of rubbish. But I'll be like, whatever. Because from where I was to where I am now, different. I've become a time management like ninja, really? I would say. But you literally just find ways. You always find ways. You try to make things really streamlined. We do that anyway. I think it's like human nature. But when you have a child, or you just have this little life, this person that relies on you, you find any way. And I would say a word of advice is to make sure you still do stuff that you enjoy. Yeah. I feel like you're married and you two seem like you have good communication. Just make sure you communicate. If you do need time out, babe, I need time out. Yeah. If you do need to do something else or something that's important or sometimes not that important, but you still want to do it because it keeps you happy, just ask obviously nicely without saying, I'm going to do this and I don't care what you think kind of thing. Yeah. There has to be some sort of balance. And if she obviously asks you, it'd be the same.
Yeah, that's good.
The communication definitely helps. But that time management thing, when you have a child, just becomes second nature. You just find ways, literally.
To do it. I think one of the things that I was just thinking about just now, like, and I've heard it come up a lot, but it hasn't necessarily been the case with me. So I think I saw a tweet a number of months ago, and I think it was a young lady talking about postnatal depression, and then a guy kind of like quote tweeted it basically and said, you know, we need to focus more on men and what men go through. And at the time I was thinking that's kind of, you know, like sometimes you just got to read the room. Like it was just like the way that discussion or argument was going on, I don't think that was the right time to be like, yeah, me too. What about us men? Because I think one thing that my wife's pregnancy taught me is that women go through way more 100%. Than we do. Like I wouldn't swap, you know, like my role as a man or as a father with a woman, with my wife as a mother. It's like incredible. Like just to carry the baby for 9 months, to see her sick for the first 3 months, to then see her, I mean, her labor, I think, was something between 20 to 30 hours. And then after that, she still didn't sleep after the baby was born. And then she comes home and the baby's heavily reliant on her for like the first month or two. And so the whole time, I didn't really feel like I had the right to feel kind of like neglected or feel kind of like, oh, wait, like there's no time being focused on me. But I'm also not a very possessive or territorial person anyway. Like I could appreciate that, you know what, this time is probably going to be needed for just mother and baby. That's fine. How can I help? How can I support? But I've heard a lot of men, especially like friends that are close to me, that said, yeah, no, I felt quite neglected. Like my wife or my partner was giving the baby all this attention. You know, we haven't been able to kind of get busy in the room for a little while because, you know, wife's always tired or because the baby's sleeping in our bed. So how was that for you? Did you feel anything similar to what some of these men are saying in terms of like postnatal depression for men? There has to be a word, because how can a man have post? I'm even just deep to, as I'm saying, I'm like, how can a man have postnatal depression? But you know what I mean, like have your own, you know, mental health kind of go into some kind of a.
I'd say I definitely felt like that, but because similar to yourself, I'm not very territorial in that sense, and because I changed my focus from Mike to these two human beings being my world, I did any and everything to make them happy. So it wasn't that hard for me. But I've got friends, for example, I think the average guy even would be like slightly more agitated or irritated by the fact that they're not getting no attention, forgetting that there's a child there. So my focus was on my son. I didn't care if we didn't get Jiggy in the room or I wasn't getting that much affection. And bless her, she tried. She definitely tried. Obviously, you wait. I think is it 6 weeks after birth you're meant to wait?
Something
I think we
like
even waited for longer than that because it wasn't our focus. And I told her, look, that doesn't bother me. 6 weeks is calm.
Yeah.
Like, especially when we just had a child, we still got stuff going on. We're trying to find our feet because again, we had the child when I'd say we're slightly young in that sense, because the stuff that I know now as a 30-year-old is completely different from when I was 24, 23, turning 24 that year. But I'll definitely say it was slightly hard, but not hard to the point where I don't know, where it was unbearable. It wasn't unbearable, I wouldn't say. It wasn't unbearable. But
what about for you though? In terms of like, what did you personally find difficult about the first stages of being a father? Like what did
I don't know
affect you or change you in a way that you wasn't prepared for? What did you think actually, like, I'm not quite comfortable with this?
I was for some reason, this weird thing I had was I was scared my son wasn't gonna know I was his dad. Don't know if that's a thing, but I was really like, his mum had to keep reassuring me that it's not that deep. He knows you. He can smell you. You're around, because I was always at work.
Okay.
And I was doing the mad shifts at Screwfix again. But that was a thing for me. I was really like, that kind of upset me actually. And I was kind of concerned that he wouldn't know until maybe later, and know me as dad only by name, if that makes sense. Know me as, there's a guy, his title is dad, but is he my father kind of thing. So for some reason, I don't know what it was. I think it's because, and also because obviously he was heavily reliant on his mum. Even though I was very, very hands-on, looked after children, even when I was a child as well, and I was a teenager, I helped my mum look after children when she was a childminder. But I thought I was doing everything right. And also, you also feel kind of like lost because they're doing their thing and you're just there, almost like a shadow. Like, how do I interact or how do I jump in? You want to be really helpful, but sometimes you feel like you're getting in the way. But I never allowed myself to, I never allowed those thoughts to manifest and become really negative, because we used to communicate properly. So I'll tell her, look, I feel a bit weird. Am I doing anything wrong? She'll be like, no, you're doing perfect. Keep going. Blah, blah. And she felt bad for certain things. I'll be like, no, you're doing very well. Keep going. Blah, blah. But yeah, I had this weird thing where I was worried about my son not knowing I was his dad.
Was that for the first few months, or like kind of like for the first few years, like in terms of time?
It was the first let's say first 6 months and a bit more. Only when he actually started, when he made eye contact. So if you now he wasn't one of those babies, by the way, so anyone could carry him.
Okay, yeah.
But then when I carried him, he was also like, who's this guy? That's what it felt like. He probably wasn't doing that. It was just coincidence that he wanted to, I don't know,
be with his mum on that day.
Or be with his mum. But yeah, I felt a way about it. I'd say it was in the first few months of him being born, let's say 6, maybe 7 months. Then he started warming up to me. But also when he was a newborn, when he was asleep, I used to put him when he was about to fall asleep, I'll put him on my chest. But that was the only time that we were actually connecting. Other than that, leave me alone, I want to go to mummy kind of thing. And now it's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Like he enjoys my company. We enjoy each other's company all the time. But I'd say there's a few things. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but it's not, I'm making it sound like it's very easy. But there was a lot of things that obviously, like we've already established, like women go through way more. Like I have to hold my hands up, like they're the best, let's say. I don't think us men could handle what they handle at all, let's be honest.
No.
Let's be honest. But there's a lot of things that we go through, and we just have to find a way to, well, I found a way to sometimes suppress it. You shouldn't really suppress your feelings. But at the same time, it wasn't about me, it was about them. And they were my world. And if they were happy, I'm happy. It's
kind of like a healthy way of like, not suppressing it, but being able to compartmentalize.
That's the look at the word.
Yeah. Just being able to compartmentalize
look at
things
the word.
And say, listen, teacher. Can't be shaming my school hair still. But yeah, being able to kind of separate thoughts and ideas and opinions and say, actually, maybe this isn't quite rational right now. And I think generally speaking, I'm quite good at that. But I think, I don't know. I think communication has been key, because even when you try and like compartmentalize certain thoughts and feelings, especially if they're negative, when you don't communicate them with your partner, if you're in that kind of position to be able to have a partner when you're going through that process, I think having a partner for me has been key because one, she knows me. So even if I've not said something, she can kind of tell like, oh, is there something wrong or is there something on your mind? And that's always handy because I'm not the greatest at opening up. I think we've had an episode about this before. Like it's not my best attribute. So I think it's definitely important for me to kind of have that person there where actually if I'm struggling, every now and again I can kind of say it and she can kind of pick up on something and be like, actually no, like, you know, similar to what you were saying, she can say, actually no, like it's not that deep, or if you don't know how to do something, you can just ask, or if you're feeling a certain way, just let me know. And I think you said another thing that was quite key as well. I think the encouragement part is important, like
100%.
letting your partner know that they're doing okay. Because one thing that I've been guilty of, especially in the beginning, is although we're doing it together, I'm very much in my own thoughts. I'm very much in my own mind. And so, you know, I mentioned the lack of sleep affecting me quite badly. There'll be some nights where all I'm thinking about is the fact that actually I need to be up in a couple of hours. I've got work. And how am I going to go into that meeting when I'm looking tired, when I'm feeling tired, when I can't focus? And it's just me. And again, I've had to then kind of sit back and just look and, you know, think to myself, well, actually, we're both experiencing this tonight. We're both having the same feelings and emotions. The difference is I've got to go to work. She's got to be at home all day with the baby, you know, and the baby is heavily reliant. It's not that she can put the baby down. And so in my head, sometimes I might be quite harsh or critical and think, well, why can't you clean the house to the same standard that I might be able to clean the house, you know? Or, you know, why can't you get a shower? I would have just put the baby in the chair and I would have had the water splashing all over the baby. Which obviously in hindsight, it's like, you don't know everything, bro. Like, you know, and you don't know exactly what they're going through. And I think being able to look internally and reflect is a great skill that I've had to like develop. But I think communication as well, because there'll be times where I'm thinking something and it's like, actually, once I've said it to my wife, she can either correct me if it's been wrong, or she can actually kind of explain to me why she's done certain things. And then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Or I might have the baby for the weekend. Like if I've had my daughter recently, I've had my daughter for the weekend, and like I've said to my wife, well, I didn't say to my wife, she said I'm going out somewhere, and I'm like, okay, go out. I'll have the baby. It's cool. And not that I thought it would be a breeze, but I thought, you know, I'm fine. We've got a good relationship. Yeah, how hard could it be? And I ain't getting a shower till like 7:38 at night, and then I'm like, okay, cool. So now I get it when I'm coming home, and I'm like, why has this not been done? Why, like, you know, surely you could have just put the baby down and put the TV on. It doesn't work like that. And when the baby's screaming and crying, you don't know why, because she's teething and this and that, you realize that actually it's not easy for anyone. And so I say that to say this, that having retrospect and being reflective is key, but definitely communicating with your partner and encouraging them. That's probably the you know, I don't think I say it enough. So this is me speaking to myself. Have to encourage your partner every now and again. Just let them know you're doing great. You're doing okay. 100%. I see you. It's not easy.
With your motherly self.
Yeah. I see you.
Spud as well.
Yeah. Have to spud. Yeah. And smack the back of their head. No, I'm joking.
That is funny. But yeah, man. I think, you know what, I was just picking up on that point. I know it's kind of off topic, but that thing where the child is trying to tell you something is wrong. Something is wrong, dad or mum. Can you find out what it is? And it's almost like find out in the next episode of being a baby kind of thing.
Being a nuisance.
And literally, and you don't know, basically what I'm trying to get at is when they get older, they now just tell you, look, dad, I'm not happy with my socks. Or my leg's itching, my fingers, they speak the language. It's so easy.
Yeah.
They even say it to themselves. By the time they've said it to you, they've realised, all right, I can fix this. Cool.
And to be fair, you know, when we talk about difficulties, that's probably one of them.
I should have said, actually.
Yeah, that's probably one of them. Like my daughter, generally speaking, is like very well behaved. She even shows off when she's out in public. The day before, she could be very fussy and like a bit annoying at home. And then we'll go out somewhere where there's like bags of people, and she'll be, she would allow us to just kind of give her to one uncle, one auntie, one of my friends, smiling. Everyone's taking pictures saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're talking about this baby like this. She's such an angel. And that's fine. And then we'll get days where she's at home and she's being a real nuisance. And I think me and my wife both have to kind of like, sometimes we just have to kind of sit down and be like, you know what, she's not doing this for no reason. Like if she's having one of those days where she's just crying, has to be a reason. And I think that's the difficult part, especially for my wife. I've noticed that not knowing what the problem is and how to like deal with it, I think takes a massive toll on my wife, because obviously they've got a particular type of relationship, the whole maternal thing. So I think her just seeing her child kind of suffer in a particular way, even if it's as little as teething or because she's tired or stressed or whatever it is, my wife really struggles with that. And I struggle as well. I think I'm just a little bit ice cold, where I'll be like, let the baby cry now. Like, maybe.
It's a thing. You have to. I believe you have to, because you end up spoiling the child. I know, coming from a man, women are like, oh, what does he know? Like, what do you mean? You're spoiling the child. But I genuinely was spoiling my son at one point, just making him sleep on my chest all the time, and then I got told off by the midwife, what are you doing, big man? You need to stop doing that, basically. But long story short, you have to just...
You can't do much about it. That's the thing. I think that's why it's difficult. If you know that your child's teething, you can buy the necessary medicine, give them the Bonjela, whatever it is. But there's other times where they're just crying, and you're like, what's going on with this baby? And being honest, there's been days or nights where I've been mad frustrated. Where I thought to myself, how much do these babies cost? Maybe somebody can just rent this baby tonight and just take him till tomorrow. You start going through some mad thoughts, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But like my wife said something really important. She's like, there's always a reason why. And I think, as much as I'm going to miss her in this stage now, she's 5 months now. She's...
Enjoy it, please, bro.
Just being able to pick her up after a long day as well. She's warm.
Yeah.
Just how she feels,
Smells
all of
like
that.
Baby. That baby smells unreal, bro.
Yeah, just the warmth.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, my wife's got her perfume, so I could tell that my baby's been with my wife all day, because my baby smells like my wife.
Well.
I love that, and I think I'm going to miss that. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to her to be able to just say, Daddy, I'm hungry. Where's the food at?
Yeah.
Rather than crying in my ear.
Yeah.
Because there's nights where I've woken up and I'm not sure if it's because she wants a cuddle, or if it's because she wants food, or because she's got gas, or because the teething's kicking in tonight. And it could be a number of reasons, and you don't know until you're able to kind of just get them to settle. And I think it's difficult for me, but I think for my wife, it's like very hard. I think she can't hear my little one cry. And that's another thing I was going to ask. Actually, I think you answered it already. You said your baby slept like an angel.
Obviously, he had times where he was obviously frustrated or annoyed. So I don't think subconsciously we had a checklist. That's like a word of advice. Make a checklist. So if it's not his teeth, if it's not his nappy, if it's not burping or hunger, sometimes you have to let him. So you know what? He's just crying today. He's frustrated. It could be, obviously, you could tell by, I don't know if it's like a thing, but you can tell when a baby cries, like to the point where they don't want to cry, but it's making them cry.
They're distressed,
Then you're just
it's
like,
usually the lip. For my daughter, it's this. She'll do this. She go, when the lip quivers and there's proper tears coming down, that's when I'm like, okay, this one's really...
But I would say again, almost 90% of the time, some was easy when he was a newborn and when he was a toddler. Very easy. Obviously, other than him being a boisterous, and he's a boy, of course, jumping off things before he was even able to walk.
Yeah.
It's mad, because he just loved doing wild stuff. But
proper active.
Yeah, he's proper active. But
I guess it doesn't relate to you then, because the reason why I brought it up is that one of the hardest things we had to do, and it lasted, actually I'm being harsh, I was going to say it lasted 20 minutes. It lasted maybe like an hour. But the crying out method, you obviously didn't have to do it because it sounds like your son slept pretty well anyway. So our daughter's always been in our bed. You know, we tried the whole crib thing from the very beginning. We had like one of those cribs that's like, you can kind of like attach it to the side of your bed so that you can basically pick up the baby straight from the crib into your bed if you needed to. And from the very beginning anyway, my daughter's clearly an affectionate child. She gets it from my mum. So she loves to be cuddled. She loves to be hugged. Doesn't matter who it is. So when she's in our bed, she's gotten used to being cuddled to sleep. So when we tried the whole putting her in her crib that we paid for a lot of money, we were advised to try out the crying out method. And Nigerian parents seem to love the crying out method because they seem to have this theory in mind that crying is good. So there was this battle going on between like my parents and my wife and home, where it's like, if the baby cries, it's okay. Put them down, let them cry. They will learn.
Yeah.
From my wife's point of view, it's just like, no.
That's punishment.
Why are you putting the baby through stress? They don't know why this is going on, blah, blah, blah. So it was kind of like finding the balance. And I'm Mr. Fence. Everyone knows me. I sit on the fence. So I'm kind of like, maybe we could do a bit of this, a bit of that. Didn't work. So anyway, we did try the crying out method eventually. And that was hard because we put her down. She fussed and kicked and cried for the first 20 minutes. And then I think we picked her up. We kind of like gave her some kisses, put her back to sleep again, did the whole thing. We did it for about an hour.
Just back and forth.
Back and forth. Just crying, screaming, hysterical. And my wife was like, nope, not doing that. Picked her up and put her right back in the bed. The baby slept. She slept like an angel. She's just like, why were you not wasting my time in the first place, putting me in this crib? And my wife has never put her back in that crib to do that method ever again. She's like, I'm not doing that to myself. Never. She's like, I'm not doing it to myself. I'm not doing it to Ari. And that's where I'm like, yeah, I'm speaking to you, Tony, if you're watching this episode. That's where I'm like,
you have to, man.
We got to find a balance, man. I get it that the baby is, our child is distressed. She's going through some stuff. She doesn't understand why. You can't explain to her, like, okay, so this is why we're leaving you in the crib. You need to sleep, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. She's just looking at you like, you lot have been doing this method for 5 months where I'm sleeping in your bed. And now all of a sudden you want me to sleep in the crib and now you're letting me cry for an hour, 2 hours. So I think that part's quite difficult because I think for me, I'm somewhere in between where it's just like, I don't think she should be sleeping in her bed. I think she should be sleeping in her crib.
I'm definitely with you. My son, I know I said he was an angel. Obviously, he had his time where he was weaning him off the sleeping in mum and dad's bed to getting him into his own bed. We did have that period. Again, it was very brief with him because it was fairly easy. But he did that thing. And I was more African parent side came out. I was like, he's not coming in our bed. He's not. But he's like, you're making him cry. He's hiding him. Like, he's stressed. He's, you know what I mean? And then he's play acting as well. So you can hear his mum now raising her voice, or you can feel mum's energy. Mum's not happy, and dad's obviously not backing mum. So I'm gonna start crying just to add to this whole thing.
The pot of mess.
So you look like basically the Grinch. You look like the bad guy. You're the one that's coming to shake the table. Why?
And they don't like it.
Exactly. So you just have to. As much as I didn't like hearing my son cry, because you almost feel like someone hurt him, and you can't help but think, okay, let me swallow my pride. Let me just pick him up and put him in our bed just for tonight. Yeah. It's never just for tonight, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's never just for tonight. You have to wean them off sleeping in mum and dad's bed, because there's times where even if you're not thinking of getting intimate, it's just laying there with space and not having to worry about rolling and flattening your baby or just watching TV. They have to be in their own bed.
Yeah. And I think that's where it gets a bit techie for me, because I'm not passionate that the baby has to be, I'm not passionate that my daughter has to be in her crib, but to me it makes a lot more sense than her sleeping in her bed, for the same reasons you said. You don't want to accidentally roll over. The baby could, I don't know, be suffocating on a pillow by accident, whatever it is, God forbid. And ultimately, she's going to sleep in her own bed, in her own room one day, eventually, over the next couple of years anyway. So what's wrong with kind of getting her into that process of doing that? But then I've also heard from some people that, their children have slept in their bed from when they were newborns up until the age of 1, 2. And they were ready to go into their rooms or to sleep in their own beds when the time was right. I've also heard people say that their child that's 5 or 6 is still sleeping in their bed and never got out of it. So I think the only thing I've learned from this is actually that there isn't really a right or wrong method.
Or time period.
I think it's about doing what's right, doing what you think is right for all of you. Yeah. And I've got to a point where I'm not mad that my daughter's in my bed. I just know that she probably should be in her crib. But also, if you try and tell me you're going to Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. I think we should try the crying out method. I'd be like, please, John, let's just put the baby in the bed tonight. Like, I ain't got time for that still. I ain't got time to be doing crying out method for the next 3 hours, from 7 to 11. I got work tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm not helpful in that situation either. And my answer to everything is, okay, maybe we should try this routine out on the weekend. Let's try it on Saturday night, see how that works. It doesn't work. So then we're just in the same vicious cycle. So it doesn't really bother me as much. And clearly my wife is happy with that. And clearly my daughter, who's having the best time in the bed with both her mum and dad, she's one. She's happy with it. And you know what? If that's the kind of baby she is, I've accepted that. Her mum's very affectionate. Her mum loves cuddles. That's fine. And I think that part leads to kind of what I'm going to go on to next, which is how our parents influence or affect or damage or ruin, depending on however you want to look at it. But their influence on how you parent, like, I'm curious to know what your experience has been like. Has it been positive? Has it been negative? Has it been a bit of both?
With mum being, my mum being hands-on.
Yeah, or even people that you see as kind of like parent figures having a say or influence around how you parent or what you do as a parent. How does that look like?
It's been a roller coaster, I'd say. Obviously, again, African parent. My mum was mum and dad, looked after 4 kids, 2 of them being her own, 2 of them being our cousins, I always say. And so she's never quite grasped the fact that, 1, I have a child, 2, you're a grandma now. And 3, like, I'm not even in my 20s anymore. I'm 30. She still tries to. She's calmed down in the last few years, let's say, but it's been a battle almost. But even when I'm doing things right, my mum will come and try and, Mum, can I just be a father for like 2 seconds, please? So it was very much like that. And also, my son's mum not being African, she grew up around African people, but she's obviously Italian and Jamaican. I could tell, because it made me feel uncomfortable. My mum basically taking your baby from your hands almost, and then looking after the baby, or doing, basically in our culture, when the baby's born, the village, my mum says, take the baby from you. You don't even do anything. You just
raise it for you.
I'm like, how does that, what? So how do I bond with my child? I was like, can you shut up? What do you know? I've been doing this for years. I did it for you and your brother. This means, Mom, come on, but it's different now.
Yeah.
And she's not Nigerian. She doesn't understand that. I'm Nigerian and I still don't understand it.
Yeah. I'm so glad you touched on this. So this could just segue into so many different things. Mate. I'm so glad you said that. You know what I found, what's funny is most of my life, I've had my parents remind me that I'm not a British boy. I'm an African boy. But there's certain principles, values, traditions that I've never heard them say, share, or even show us until I'm in my mid to late 20s. Yep. And all of a sudden, there's that kind of expectation that you would understand or know what they're talking about.
You should.
And what makes it even worse is similar to you. My wife, actually, no, not really. So my wife she's half Nigerian. Her mum's Bermudian.
Okay.
And my wife was raised in Bermuda.
Okay.
So although she's got Nigerian parents, because her mum was raised in Nigeria, although she's a Bermudian, they don't have the same cultural experience as what I have. It's a very different type of Nigerian cultural experience. Both same tribes, but very different cultural experiences. And there's some things that my mum has suggested that when she suggested them, even I'm looking at her like, what? We got to do what? I'll give you a perfect example.
Oh, gosh.
Bathing our daughter in palm oil. I don't know if your mum suggested that.
We nearly fought.
No, we did fight. I'll be honest with you. We fought. But the thing is, again, I'm Mr. Sit on the fence. I sit on the fence with everything. Or I'm just kind of like, I'm very, what's it called? Is it diplomatic? I'm like, you know what? Cool, fair enough. And then I've got my wife looking at me like,
are you not going to do anything?
You're just gonna accept our baby being bathed in palm? I'm like, okay, so maybe, Mum, what kind of palm oil are we talking about here?
Is it organic? You'd be like, is it organic, Mum? That makes it any better.
What shop did you buy the palm oil from? I'm just asking for my wife because she's asking me a couple of questions. So it becomes tense. But you know what? As much as I laugh about it, that's been another difficult part about parenting. Being able to find the balance between honouring my parents, my mum in particular, who has done this. She's had 3 children.
Yeah.
And listening to my wife who's had to give birth to this baby, and listen to someone who's more experienced, who's obviously my mum. I love my mum. And she's trying to tell us, sometimes it was more of a dictation as to how we should do things. And my wife is not like me. She's got a very strong personality in that. What she likes and what she wants is what she wants. She's unwavering with that. Yeah. I wouldn't even use the word stubborn, because stubborn's more a negative thing. She's kind of just strong in what she believes in. Yeah. And so if she says, no, I don't think that's a great idea, the dilemma that I had was that my mum, I won't say she's got a massive influence on me, but like I said, I would take on what she's saying or her suggestions and I'd relay it back to my wife, and my wife would be like, nah, we ain't doing that. And so like, I'll just leave it as that. But then a couple of weeks would go by and my mum would be like, okay, so when am I going to bathe the baby in palm oil? I should have done it 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, is it necessary? And then it just becomes this kind of back and forth thing. And so, you know what? I take responsibility. Tony, my wife, I take responsibility. There's times where I should have just nipped it in the bud. But again, that's the difficult. Like, where's the balance between saying to your mum, chill, this is our baby. Yeah. I get that you're the more experienced person. I get that, you know, you have our best interest at heart, but let's just do it how we want to do it. And you know what? We are probably going to make mistakes because, again, my mum can point out a number of things that she sees in our parenting where she's just like, man, you guys don't know what you're doing. But maybe that's how it needs to be done. Like, I think as long as me and my wife's intentions are the best, I think that's more important. But I think also there's a fine line there, because I think we also, I say this to my wife a lot, we also need to seek and take advice and guidance from people. 100%. Like, it's not kind of like you're old, your time was different, we don't need to listen to you. I think actually there's very much a need for us to kind of like listen to people that have done it before us and take what we want to take without being disrespectful. Exactly. Without saying, nah, not listening to that. And I think that's kind of like where we've probably struggled, being able to say, no, we'll listen to that, or no, we don't want to do that, but we'll try it this way. And so that's been a difficult part. I don't think I've even really touched on some of the difficult situations, but I'm just glad you touched on that, that whole thing.
That's a definite difficult thing, I would say. I was going to say I had a similar experience, but
palm oil.
Yeah. You almost want to ask, like, Mum, is this one organic? Is this the one that you got from the, you know what I mean? From the actual palm tree, Mum. I don't know how it even works. I don't even know if it's from a palm tree.
No idea.
Is that the one? And then I'm looking at my son's mum like,
how's she going to allow this to happen?
And she's putting on a brave face, but I could tell she's thinking, what are these Nigerians doing? And I'm now, playing the fence sometimes in that situation is the worst, because they're very strong-willed, especially my mum.
It is the worst.
Literally.
Take it from me.
Literally. So I'm trying to find the middle ground, and there's so many different things in our culture, and there's basically different traditions. So naming him after, I think, is it 7 or 9 days? 7 days?
I felt that one too.
And then she was like, we've just come home, like, what's going on? And she wanted to go out with him in the week. My mum said, impossible, you're not taking my grandson outside when I'm alive, you can't do that. Then we had an argument about that, and I was like, when was that? She says, you're mad, you can't take your child out at this time. And then so obviously my son's mum was barling upstairs. I'm now trying to say, Mum, just relax. Like, it's not even your child. So I feel like
you did better than me then.
Oh, mate,
if you told her to relax.
Yeah, I tried without being rude. So that's the problem, though. We have to say, Mum, relax, please, with a nice, you know what I mean, Mum, please, Edger, please, Mum, come on, like, you can see that she's upset. My mum was like, I don't care. Did you think anyone felt sorry for me when I had a child? I was like, Mum, I get it, but like. And the thing is, my mom forgets that when we're living, it's just me and her, it's just me and her. You can't keep coming in. You know what I mean? You're not going to be there all the time. Yeah. We appreciate what you're doing. Love you, Mum. But at the same time, come on, man. You have to relax sometimes. Like, she wanted to go from the hospital. She wanted to go straight to her house. But she had to come to mine because my mum was like, no, we need my grandson here. We need to do this. We need to do that. Again, love you, Mum. But it was too much. It was too much. But now she understands. So because we communicated our feelings to my mum, obviously we didn't sit down. It wasn't like a meeting. Yeah. But we're like, oh, Mum, you know what? Like, come on. Like there's some things that even Nigerians don't understand.
Yeah.
You can't just do it because that's tradition. You're just doing it blindly. I get it. That's what you know. It keeps you happy. It makes you feel comfortable. That's fine. You're doing your job. I understand. But at the same time, you have to remember that we're the parents as well. It's not every day pour palm oil on my son's head because I want to put some white clothes on him. And now even when you wash it off, it's not coming off. It's not everyday palm oil. And even like the circumcision and naming ceremony and certain things that you should feed them and when you should give them pepper.
Yeah. How, please. Like, you know, when you should be feeding them solids, all these little things. Yeah.
And like, if there's a, I don't know, let's say it gets a spot. Now go and put, this one works, by the way. I want everyone to
say some mad remedy.
If you get a spot on your eyelid like a sty, yeah, Mum used to put earwax. Warm earwax and put it on there. The thing disappears within a day.
Earwax?
Earwax.
Who's earwax?
That's the problem. So you're trying to get the child. She's like, no. You need proper earwax.
What, organic earwax?
Mum, please, not on my child. And his mum's looking like, come on, man.
She can't say nothing.
That's the thing. So there's times where she's like, nah.
Forget it.
Yeah, like you can't. This is too much now, and I understand it.
Yeah.
And then bless her again. She was trying her hardest, but this Nigerian grandma is. It's too much now, man.
She enforces basically kind of some of the things that she wants.
My mum loved it, man. My mum loved, like she loves being a grandma. Like, I could tell it's her first one in it, so she was proper hands-on. I was hands-on, so everyone's battling to get Rome's attention, even his mum. So it was just a three-way battle almost, instead of a triangle of love, let's call it. It should have been that, but it was more of a three-way battle. It became a triangle of love after a while.
Yeah, but everyone kind of working together, collaborating to make it work,
and all the rest of it. Yeah, so
I think that's something that we're probably going to have to really talk about, and there's a lot to talk about. I think in terms of just like our relationship with our parents and being. I mean, I was born here, so
Same.
Being raised here to parents who obviously come from a very different culture. And I think that in itself is another topic that we're probably going to have to explore for 100%. Another time still. But yeah, I think, it's been a good discussion. This might even need a part 2 because there's so much to get into still.
It's still going on, bro.
Yeah. But listen, Mike, it's been a pleasure. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you for everyone that's been listening to the Goodman Factory podcast today. You know what, Mike? I'm going to ask, just how can I word this? If you've got one bit of advice that you could give to a young father, someone like myself, someone that's either just had a baby recently or is due to have a baby, what's, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 takeaways that they could take from this session?
I would say just enjoy it. It's definitely a journey and it's a marathon, I'd say, because it doesn't really end. You know when they say a child gets to 18, that's it. I can't imagine, obviously because he's only 6, I can't imagine just leaving my son and just, when he's 18, you're an adult now. Like, it's a constant thing. My mum still tries to mother me and my brother, but obviously because of the way we are, mum, allow it. But we still we love mum to bits. She still gives us advice and all the rest of it. But enjoy it while it's here. Like and don't try to rush it at all. But I just I don't know. I love my son to bits. I look at him at times, and just think, like, I'm going to keep enjoying every single moment with you. And even if you don't want me there, I'm still going to be there in the background. You're not going to like it. You're probably going to hate my guts for being there too much. But at the same time, like, enjoy it. Enjoy it while it's still, like, I look at pictures of him on my phone when he was a toddler and how charismatic and how much of a character he was, basically. He's still a character now. And he's basically the same. But you miss when they're that size, and then you miss when he's a toddler, and then you miss when he's 6 because he's going to be 7, 8, 9. Yeah. You know what I mean? So enjoy it while it's here, and just keep going, man. Everything, as long as you're doing everything, I wouldn't say right, but as long as you're doing everything you believe is correct for the child, you're not doing anything wrong. I think I'll encourage parents to just keep going.
That's beautiful.
Got this far, keep going.
That's beautiful. Definitely going to take that on. That's good for myself as well as a young father. Thank you. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up today. Thank you again for listening to the Goodman Factory podcast. You had myself, Manny, here today. You had Mike. Again, use our discount code GPOD1 on our Goodman Factory website for every product. If you use that discount code, you'll be able to get yourself some discounts on some very, very good products. I can vouch for that myself. One more thing. That's it. Also, if you've got any other questions, please hashtag Ask the Goodmen. I said that right? It is Ask the Goodmen.
I think you said that right.
I should trust myself more. Yeah. If you got any questions, please just under our page, comments, just put hashtag Ask the Goodmen, and please just let us know any questions or topics that you might have. And yeah, we out for today. Peace.